That's right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning indeed. We made it back from South Bend in one piece. No arrests, no injuries, no nothing. Nothing but good times, good vibes, and a lot of weird weather. We're here, baby. It's good to be back. It's great to be back. Oh, man. What a fun weekend. It was just so good just to be at Notre Dame. I don't care about the weather. It was just great to be there. It puts me in a better mood, especially when there's no real game that I have to worry about us losing. That's the other reason I like the blue and gold. You know you're not going to leave completely miserable. Like, it's the only time you could go to Notre Dame for some football-y stuff, and it's not a coin flip that you're going to hate your life when you come back. So it was just beautiful. So a lot of people have a lot to say. I want this to kind of be about you guys in the chat. If anybody wants to call, whatever. I just want to know your big takeaways from the ball game. Big picture, small picture, quarterback stuff. What do you think the defense looks like? Young wide receiver, whatever it is. I don't care. I just want to know. So that's going to be the plan today. So let's get through the introduction and we'll get caught up with the chats. We'll see where we're at. We got a couple calls. I might flip this up and give priority to the calls and then go back through the chat. I'll hit the super chats, then come back. I want to give people a chance that want to call. So thanks for being here, everybody. Obviously, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. You know why. That way we go up in the algorithm and YouTube says, hey, people like this guy yelling in his basement. Let's shoot it out to more people. I appreciate it. Notifications on. That way you're alerted every time a new episode drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar, Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishandy@gmail.com. Audio only. Anywhere you want me, you can locate me. Colon line 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Fighting Irish Wire. Type it up on the Google. Irish Wire. And then you read about Notre Dame football. It's amazing the technology these days. You type into a little box what you want to look for and the information comes out. It's wild. Wild. So, first things first, tailgate, quite the success, I would say. Everybody had fun, met a ton of people, met a lot of people that I know from here, but only on their screen name. And then they walk up and it's like, hey, what's your screen name? And then I'll know who you are. Oh, it's Phil. What's up, Phil? It's a riot. It's just funny to make that connection with somebody you know and you kind of knew, but not really. And then they walk up to get to tailgate, you crack some lids, and then you're friends in real life. It's beautiful. So thank you to everybody that came. Great time. Just random people come by, people bringing their kids by, their families, all of it. Everybody, I love everything about it. Everybody that came, I really appreciate it. The people that helped set it all up, Pat, Adam, Craig, all of their crews, Rudy, got to have a Rudiger there. Everybody that helped with all of that, I really appreciate it. And now, you know how these things go. We didn't even get through Saturday, and the idea was floated. You know, John, early next year where there's a couple of home games where the weather should be pretty nice, maybe we should look into doing a tailgate then for a regular game. Maybe the week before Ohio State. So I don't know. That's something in the something we're going to have to work on and see. But that could be in the works, and then it'd be a different ball game because it'd be a real ball game, and so different preparations would need to be made. So I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know if you got answers to some of the questions you had. I want to know if you have new questions. I want to know if there's anything you saw that surprised you, either good or bad. Like it's an open forum. I just want to see it. Yeah, Nick Dean, nicest guy in the world. Nick's wife, they're just the nicest people all day. And I did feel bad. Adam came and was nice enough to bring the grill. We put him on the grill duty all day. Telling you, these people are great, man, willing to help out, and I love all of them. So I just want to know anything. What surprised you? What on the good side, on the bad side, what grand conclusions did you make about the quarterback situation and where you want that to go? Any of it. It's all up for debate. So let's go through a couple chats. I'll do the super chats for sure. And then we'll get into the calls and kind of see where we're at. There's something in the chat I got to point out, and everybody brought it up Saturday. There's something in this chat right now I'm not letting go, and we're going to hit it because it's hilarious, and it already made my Monday. We'll get there in a second. $20 holler from my man Eric, I believe, in Michigan, right across the border there. Stay safe up there, man. Too many Michigan fans around. I've been saying this for the last 2 months. Even if the defense is average this year, Hartman will keep ND in every game. The guy was superb at blue and gold, much further along than I was expecting. See, that's a practical and philosophical calculation I've been making in my own brain. Thinking if I have these worries about the defense maybe not being as stout as we've been used to it being every year, starting with 17, if I'm doing that calculation and I have those worries, and I don't know for sure that the defense is going to take a step back, there's just a lot of unknowns that I can't rely on until I could see what they do against Ohio State and know it's good enough. That's the point where I'll start trusting that. So in that environment, if you're worried about that the defense may take a step back, if the offense takes a big step or two forward, that could help balance that out. Now, it's the ultimate Notre Dame complaint. Any year that we've been pretty good lately, it's been predominantly on one side of the ball and the other doesn't carry their weight. And then we end up losing when you face somebody that's a well-balanced operation. How many of these good years we've had in the last run of Kelly where you felt really good about the defense and we had no offense, and then we got in a playoff game or a big game and score and couldn't do diddly poo. Even if the defense was doing all they could, we weren't able to sustain drives or anything, and it didn't matter. So my thought is, if that defense were to take a step or step and a half back, but the offense scores another touchdown or 10 points a game, or not even that, but puts together a bunch of drives and eats up a bunch of time every game because they're just out there more. They're not going 3 and out, whatever. They're sustaining drive. That helps the defense. So these are all things I've been playing with in my mind. Eric, good points. And thanks for the $20 holler. Jay Lehman, my blue gold overreaction. Hartman's the best QB to play in the spring game since Quinn. Long way to go till August, but wow. Here's the thing. The numbers are the numbers. Like the 13 of 16, 189, 2 touchdowns, 1 running on a nice play, all that. Like, I'll say one thing. I did not expect that level of efficiency. I'm not acting like all those throws were 50-yard, like 13 for 16. They were all 50 yards down the field. In a spring game, even from Hartman, I admit, I did not expect that level of efficiency. That's a pretty tidy operation for a spring game. And the other thing is, if you look around the country, a lot of those spring games looked rough, and a lot of the quarterback play looked a lot worse than what we ran out there. And I'm not used to saying that. Okay? Here's my point. You can see the scar tissue coming out of all these years of not being good enough at the most important position in sports when you're Notre Dame. Never made any sense to me that the University of Notre Dame and all that history can't find one really good quarterback from one of these Catholic schools somewhere that wants to go there every year. Here's what it's more about. It isn't about the 13 for 16. I like that efficiency, but what it's more about is the guy just looked like a smooth operator, baby. It just looked like a smooth operation. In plays, out of plays, moving down the field, in a little rhythm, get it and go. Each play gaining some pass play, run play, whatever, all that. There was a little flow and rhythm to the offense. There were quicker progressions. There were quicker reads, all that. It just looked a little more easy than what we're used to. Nothing with our offense ever looks easy, except for maybe when they ended off to Estime last year, and then he got a big hole, and then skull dragged somebody that he ran into. Okay? Like, that's it. That's when it looks smooth. This was more about rhythm and just kind of no panic. We know what we're doing here. Up, down the field. Now, you could say that's a low bar of what you're looking for, John. It's just that a quarterback could actually orchestrate that, like the maestro he's supposed to be. You could say it's a low bar all you want. It's the bar I'm drinking at. Like, you could say it's a low bar, but that's the one we've been slumming it at, folks. At 3 a.m. at the end of the bar, getting kicked out. That's the one we've been hanging out at. You know, what in a dream world, we would have the guy at USC and he'd be at Notre Dame winning Heisman's for Notre Dame and all that. But this isn't that. So, like, comparing it to that right now, there's a big gulf between where we've been and the top echelon of quarterbacking in college football. How realistic is it for you to think you're going to go from where we were, where nobody could throw a pass or even see over the defensive line, to Heisman? There's a big gulf there. I don't know where Hartman's going to fall, but I know it's going to be closer to the top than the bottom. I know that. I know that. I know it. All right, phone calls. Hang in there. We're getting to you. $5 holler. Good morning, John the Great. Well, I don't know about that. It was the Hartman, Greathouse, and Thomas show. I saw what I was hoping to see with the Hartman offense. Yeah, I'm telling you, just the smoothness of it, of even in a spring game, I just felt like the guy knew what was going on. I had some rhythm to it, and it was just an easier operation to watch on your eyes. It was watching a Notre Dame offense, and you didn't want to stab an ice pick in your face the whole time. It was really relaxing. If you couldn't tell from my delivery, it was relaxing to see that. Oh, man, I mean, maybe a part of it is I'm stuck on what I saw last year when it was the Pine and Jelly show. Oh, I'm having a flashback. Brutal. But Hartman, we discussed that. Greathouse for a spring game? Unbelievable. What was it? Am I dreaming, or did he have 11 catches? Where's my note on that? 11, 118, something like that. He was running around like he belonged. And again, you could say to me, John, shouldn't that be a red? Yeah, 11 catches, 118 in a spring game is an early enrollee. Yes, sir. Can I have another? Love it. And it's like, oh, John, isn't that? I got some of these messages. There's no winning with these people. John, isn't it a negative that everybody's focusing on this freshman guy running out there and making plays? Where's everybody? Yeah, it's not great, but it's our situation. So a lot of people are getting stuck in the gulf between the elite of the elite at the top end of this sport and then where Notre Dame's starting at, this spring. And there's a big gulf there. And people want it to go from down here to right up there. I don't think that's practically realistic. You got to work your way up that. If you have a Hartman offense that actually looks like it knows what's going on, you're going to be a lot closer to the top of that than the bottom. We are so predisposed and used to inappropriate quarterback play. It's poisoned Notre Dame fans' minds. I'm telling you, it's a disease. It gets in your cerebellum. It's a disease. Not good quarterback play. Years in a row. It's a disease. And it spreads. And then it gets in your mind. And then you don't know if what you're seeing is the real world or not. Half the people are telling you it's fine, but you don't think it is. Your eyes don't tell you that. You look around the country and see other teams with these exciting offenses. It's a poison. Bad quarterback play is a poison. And we got to get out of that. We got to get out of that. I'm serious. It's about time. It's way past time to get the hell out of all that. Maybe this is a step in that direction. Where does that leave Buckner, though? That's the next question everybody's going to want to know. And I don't have the answer to it. Oh, here we go. Nick Dean, what a tailgate. Always Irish killed it. Yeah, I know. The only problem is your wife's a good mind reader because she brought up some slightly sensitive things that she gauged from me on some of my live streams, and she was right about it all, Nick. So I'm going to be careful about the information I share with your lovely wife. She was all over it, man. She's like, yeah, John, you do this because of that, and I have a feeling you don't do this because of that. She was right about everything. Maybe if I need a manager, a program manager, I'm calling her because she knows how I think, Nick. Oh, man. Paul says, love the articles on Irish Wire. Good job, John. I appreciate that. I have not gotten to my post-game ones yet because I want to get back in town and then yesterday do my content and all that. So I'll have some articles coming up today and tomorrow for that. Probably do it when I'm done with this, actually. Oh, I'm sick of the red. Here we go again with the red. Oh, I got something coming later in the week for the red that's going to piss you all off. I got something on the red coming this week that I saw on Twitter last night, and I almost had a stroke. I'll do it later in the week. This ain't the time or the place. Yeah, no more red. The red's got to be dead. Red has got to be dead. Oh, man. Here we go. Phil, it was so good meeting you and your family. It was amazing. You guys are fantastic. Came up with a big smile and a bottle of Fireball. Let's go, baby. Had the whole family there. Parents, beautiful. That's what it's all for. Cousin Luke, all the praise and awarding Hartman the Heisman. Would make my all-time favorite coach, Lou Holtz, sick. Lou's fine, man. Lou's in Florida, hitting that pipe first thing in the morning. Lou's fine. Leave Lou out of this. Mikey Poles. What up, Mikey? Good morning. Mikey, I didn't even need everybody was nice at the tailgate. I didn't need your bouncing services. Good morning, John. Buckner played no better and no worse, and he has his whole limited career at ND. Not a surprise in the slightest, and that is the product we will get with him every time. How do you explain all the people that were telling me, you're an idiot, you're not at all the other practices where he looked great? You're right, I wasn't. I was at the public one where it's time to show off all that stuff and play your best ball. I don't know what you want me to do about the problem that I don't have access to practice. But if your answer is you got to just believe everything you see and read and what the coaches tell you about this competition, and then the media writes about it, if that's what you tell me, I'm telling you no. How about that? If that's what you tell me to do, I'm telling you I'm not doing it. How about that? I'm not doing it. I trust more what I see with my eyes than the narratives coming out of Notre Dame football. Haven't any of you learned not to go by that yet in your lives? I don't care what you tell me about all those practices I didn't see. The one that was supposed to show it all off, I know what I saw then. God, I feel so bad for Tyler Buckner. He's loyal. He's a fighter. He never quits. He's grindy. He's a competitor. He's a good person and a good kid and a good student and respectful. He is everything you want a Notre Dame quarterback to be, other than the part where you're really good at this. And I get that it's not his fault that the guy's always injured or bad luck and bad timing, but you have to balance that with what's best for the program now. And that is a very hard line to walk. That's a very hard line to walk in between those. Man, I want that guy to succeed so much, but I need us to have an offense. $20 holler from Phil. Thanks for having us Saturday. I had a great time. It was fantastic, man. I love that stuff. I wish the practice game was a night game, so we could have stayed out there another 5 hours. So here we go. Almost caught up, going to the calls. There's a bunch of people lined up, so we're going to have to make our calls a little quicker. Get through them, okay? The QB competition's over. Hartman QB1. Let's refocus on the middle of the offense, defensive line, and how that's the weakest link, along with safety and corner. It's a worry I have, cousin. It's a worry I have. Here's what I wanted to show you guys. We have Cousin Luke. If you're here at all regularly, you will know Cousin Luke is the resident troll. I think he likes Notre Dame and maybe likes me because he's here every show, but only with negativity about what's going on in the program. Oh, exclusively pretty much negativity. Now we have a new person entering the chat. Luke's Uncle Daddy. Hey, everybody, don't mind my smooth-brained, inbred son, Luke. He ain't got the brains for ND foosball, and I'm embarrassed by him saying all this false crap on these channels. Hartman threw a bomb to Thomas. This is fantastic. So, and Uncle Luke, Cousin Luke, I promise you, I did not meet up with somebody at the tailgate and hatch this plan. I promise you I didn't do it. Somebody's doing this on their own volition, and it's hilarious. So Uncle Luke, cousin Luke, if you're going to do this, then you got to be open to Uncle Luke's daddy here. Oh, I want to know who you are. Somebody message me and tell me who Luke's uncle's daddy is. I want to know who I can appreciate for that move. Oh, that's beautiful. Bruce, what's going on, Bruce? Angela Rudiger. It was always good to have a Rudiger at the party. Always good. Brian Van Gorder's burner. John, I got to ask, what's worse, the White Sox or BVG defense? Yes, they are both. Both of those things exist to give me strokes and aneurysms. Both of them. $10 holler, V1 rotate V2. Tyler Buckner, the backup. Pine looked good for Arizona State. Happy for him. But still never put in the position to be a starting quarterback in Notre Dame. That was always my issue with Drew Pine. I can never blame Drew Pine that he's short and doesn't have a huge arm, and he's also not that fast. I wasn't blaming Pine for being what he was. I was blaming Notre Dame for allowing themselves to be in a position where you had to hand the keys over to Pine. That's my problem. Those are different things. Those are entirely different things altogether. It was never, oh my God, Pine, you suck, blah, blah, blah. The guy is just limited to what he could be, and it's obvious. The issue was the structures at Notre Dame that made it so that guy ended up the starter at Notre Dame. Now, I realize he wasn't supposed to be last year, and he was a backup. I'm still saying you got to have a backup that can see over the line. Not a lot to ask. I didn't even say about how good he is. Literally be able to see over the line to throw a pass. Let's start there as far as what I'm looking for. Oh, Dr. John, good morning to you, sir. We missed you at the party, Dr. John. Would have been great. Oh, man. Cousin Luke. I didn't know John knew a bunch of hot party goes. Oh, yeah, it was basically a Girls Gone Wild shoot over at the tailgate. How'd you know? That's exactly what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. It was a wild affair. It was like Mardi Gras all over again at the old tailgate. How'd you know? Oh, my God. Man, you guys are hilarious. All right, what else? I'll come back up to these chats. I want to make sure I don't miss any of the donations. Here we go. $10 holler. Matt Radke, $10 holler. Can you explain this to me? Our QB was actually looking good for the second and third options in pass game. This hasn't been the Notre Dame way. That's one thing you will notice about Hartman, and it's one thing you should expect out of a sixth-year guy. That you are going to have those progressions and those reads and having the clock. It's a big thing. Having the clock to know what time you have to make these progressions and if you have time to make them all and then go back to a guy, all of that. That is all stuff Pine had issues with sometimes. That's stuff Buckner still struggles with. That is an aspect of this you would expect a guy going into his sixth year of college would be able to navigate. And I think we saw that in this game. Didn't look rushed. Make your progressions. Loved it. Beautiful. Oh, and the other thing is, I know some of you know this because you're in the loop. I got messages this morning. There's good Notre Dame recruiting news on the way. In terms of silent commitments that may have happened over the weekend and then maybe some public ones coming. I have been notified that to expect some good news, and there was some silence, and there will be the next few weeks, maybe look for some guys to pop. Oh my God, no way. No way. This is amazing. I'm not even mad at this, Cousin Luke. It actually makes me smile. John picks the one negative comment I make and posts it. Go figure. You know you're not even a serious person when you put that, Cousin Luke. Every single thing you said is negative. You know what you're like, Cousin Luke? You're like me during the Kelly era when he checked out and forced me to check out on him by default. You're like when I have the good Notre Dame Angel and the bad Notre Dame Angel fighting it out on my shoulders. You're like the voice of the negative one from the Kelly years that's come to life. That's what it feels like. Oh my God, that's funny. 224. $5 holler. You get to skip the phone line, my friend. That's money talks, baby. Money talks. Sharky, good to see you. Good to see you. I'm not trying to skip all these. I will go back to them, but I want to get up here. Get caught up. Oh, boy. All right. Here we go. 224 donated. He's going first. Everybody else stay tuned. We're going to go a little quicker because we got more people than normal that want to talk. 224. Give me some more. Happy Monday.
Hey, John. This is Andrew Gilmore. How are you?
I'm doing well, my friend. I would love to hear your thoughts, man. You always think about this stuff deeply. What did you see Saturday? What'd you like? What'd you hate? What'd you love? Where are you at?
Well, people always say that you can't overreact to bowl games and spring football games, but I guess my thought is, and I wanted to kind of only talk about the quarterback situation, is, if the quarterbacks do exactly what they've done over the course of their whole career, I think it's totally appropriate to overreact or to react. And so it's so obvious. I mean, I was really excited when Hartman came in because Hartman can deliver the ball. He can throw the football. He's made all the throws that you would expect a Notre Dame quarterback to make. Is he John Elway or Will Levis or something like that, who's 6'5" and has a cannon? No, but he can make the throws, and I think it's refreshing. And then, but the one thing I wanted to focus in on was Tyler Buchner. Even though I have not been a supporter of Tyler Buchner, I totally understand why there are fans that are really loyal to him and really like him. And the reason for that is he is a great athlete. The problem for him is not really his lack of execution. The problem is, unfortunately, he picked the wrong offensive coordinator to come play for. And I think that's a hard truth that Tyler Buchner has to face. The reason I say that is he is not a pro-style quarterback. He just isn't. And if you think about what Tommy Rees's offense is, why he gets so much praise from NFL scouts is he took pro football concepts and adapted it to college football. That's why people think he's really a good offensive coordinator, because it's really hard to do. But Tyler Buchner's skill set is not pro style. He's an athlete first, and then in terms of quarterback play, he's below average. He has poor mechanics, which leads to inaccuracy and inconsistent arm strength. Like, we've all seen where Tyler Buchner throws the ball and we think, geez, he had a lot of steam behind that throw. And then on other throws where he throws it in the dirt and you think, geez, he's got no arm strength whatsoever. It all comes back to mechanics.
Yeah.
And so if Buchner was smarter when he was picking colleges to go play for, he probably would have been a little more honest with himself to say, hey, I'm going to pick an OC that is going to use the traits that I'm good at, which is running around, improvising. Like, if he played for Hugh Freeze at Auburn, or if he played for the TCU coach, or if he played for Gus Malzahn, where all their offenses really, like an element of a quarterback running around, I guarantee you Buchner would be a really successful college quarterback. Instead, he picked a pro-style offense, which requires him to make multiple reads in the pocket, which requires him to make tight, accurate throws. And so he's not successful in that. And it's as simple as that. And I just would end on this. Like, Vince Young was one of the greatest athletes to ever play quarterback in college. Can you imagine if Texas, before his senior season, came out and said, before ever doing any talent evaluation, they came out and said, hey, we're going to play a pro-style offense. Vince Young would not have been successful. Instead, what Texas did was that they said, this is what Vince Young can do really well. He's not good at reading defenses, so we're gonna just have him do one read only. And if the read's not there, he's gonna take off and run. And guess what happened? Vince Young had the most successful season out of any, probably until Joe Burrow, at LSU. So that's the problem here. And I think that ultimately Notre Dame made a big mistake not hiring a veteran offensive coordinator. And this is the reason why I say this. When you look at guys like Andy Ludwig, Joe Moorhead, Greg Roman, all these guys are not flashy offensive coordinators. But why I think they're perfect for Notre Dame is that Notre Dame has a hard time recruiting 5-star quarterbacks. They do not get them all the time. They mostly get 4-star quarterbacks who are really good but have flaws. And what I like about those veteran OCs, like guys like Joe Moorhead and Andy Ludwig, is they're not system-oriented offensive coordinators. They look at the talent that they're able to get, and they adapt the offense to what the quarterback is good at. And so I think that, and so they don't burn up the stat sheet, but if you can, as you notice with them, they win a lot of games because they're doing the things, they're putting their players in the position to succeed and not asking them to do stuff that they can't do.
Yeah.
So that's Tyler Buchner's problem. If I was Tyler Buchner, I would transfer. I would go play for Hugh Freeze. I'd go play for Gus Malzahn.
Yeah.
Because they run offenses that suit what I do good.
Yeah.
And
but here's the other thing. Here's the other half of what you just said. You just covered that very well on one part of the discussion. But the other part is no matter what kind of offense he was developing in, the constant year-long interruptions of that development is a big issue too. Like with the injuries, and then you're out a long time, and then you're not the starter because of Cone, and then you're not getting all that action. Like his development in anything has been delayed so much by these weird things. That is a big part of him too. And it's frustrating for everybody.
I agree with that, but I think these offensive coordinators like Tommy Rees are so egotistical that they overlook the major flaws of certain players and think that I'm such a good coach that I can fix the flaws. And what I would say is, like, it's so rare that you can take a player who's already at the college level and fix their throwing motion. Like, it does happen. We've seen where that's happened, but the vast majority of people, end up reverting back to the stuff they're comfortable with. Like, I think about a baseball swing or a basketball shot. Once you've been doing it for 10 plus years, it's so hard to change that repetition. And so Tommy Rees did Tyler Buchner a disservice. He thought he could try to redevelop him into a pro style quarterback and use his athleticism of elements to make him better. When in reality, if you, I don't know if you remember from the Elite 11, Tyler Buchner tried to change his quarterback throwing motion, and and ended up being one of the worst Elite 11 performances of any quarterback of all time. So then he reverted back to his old throwing motion. So he did Tyler Buchner a disservice. He's not a bad quarterback. He's just not good for a pro style offense. And that's why guys like Ian Book, that's why guys like Sam Hartman, who don't have the strongest arms in the world, but they are decent in a pro style offense. And that's what Notre Dame wants to run. They don't want to adapt a new offense to Tyler Buchner. And hence why he struggled. And he can't read defenses. I mean, just look at Virginia Tech and then at certain parts of the South Carolina game. Never sees the guy dropping back. They do zone blitzes on him, and he inevitably throws interceptions. So, that stuff, you can try to teach someone how to read defenses, but a lot of that is innate sort of processing abilities. You're only going to get better on the margins. You're never going to teach someone how to fully do that. So yeah, I think that's the story on.
So how does this play out then? How does this play out? Does he stick around and he's the backup and then try and be the starter next year when the dynamic is different, or how does that play out?
I think Marcus Freeman's doing Buchner a disservice. I think he's still telling him, hey, don't worry about it. You played really well in practice and stuff. Stick around. You'll have a shot to win it in the fall camp.
Yeah.
But if I was Buchner's dad, or if I was Buchner's, NIL agent, I'd say, hey, look, Florida with Napier, Hugh Freeze at Auburn, these are guys who run an offense that suits you much better. They're actively saying they're looking for a quarterback in the portal. Go, because what happens is you're going to sit this year and you're only going to play unless Hartman gets injured. And then next year, you're right back into a quarterback controversy with a guy like Minchie, and then you got Carr, who are both pro-style quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So and unless they're signaling they're going to change their offense, you're going to be right back in the situation you were. At least give yourself a chance to start for a team, a good team.
Yeah.
Who would run an offense.
And you know what else, man?
So that would be my advice.
All of that. Listen, I've been saying this for a long time. I could see a guy like him benefiting from getting out, like kind of like with Reese. I said I think it might be good for him to get out of all the Notre Dameness and get out of the shadow of that dome and be able to free yourself up without the certain scrutiny that comes with the Notre Dame guy stuff. It might be the best thing for him. I just feel for the kid because he's a respectful, hardworking kid. He's everything you could want a Notre Dame quarterback to be like and present, other than like the winning and good plays on the field all the time stuff. There are flashes because he's such a good athlete, but that consistency at quarterback is so important. Knowing your baseline and what you're going to get week in and week out. It can't always be a roll of the dice. Is it a pick six or is he going to be good today? That you can't live that way.
But again, you guys brought up Lou Holtz earlier in a conversation. Like, Lou Holtz did not ask Tony Rice to play in a spread run and shoot offense.
Yeah.
Tony Rice was in a option run first offense and do a little bit of passing. Tony McDougal in 1993, when Notre Dame almost ran the table, was not asked to go out and throw the ball 30 times. He was asked to just hand the ball off and deliver some good passes and use your feet. You know, that Lou Holtz was a coach who adapted. And then when he recruited Ron Pauls, what do? He threw the ball a heck of a lot more. Same with Rick Meyer. So, like, they're putting a square, you know, a round peg in a square hole. You know, it's just I think that's the big mistake. Whereas if they hire Joe Moorhead, they hire Andy Ludwig, if they were really going to go with Buckner, they would develop an offense around their strengths. And then one thing I know you want to be quick here with call. So one thing I wanted to note on defense, one major concern I thought was Clarence Lewis. He got burnt against Oklahoma State in that bowl game when they actually played against a decent quarterback and wide receivers. And for how much I really appreciate the fact that Jaden Thomas is, you know, making strides, he runs with a piano on his back. He's slow, and he burned Clarence Lewis. And so what does that tell you? And so I'm really concerned about, like, if you're going to play a 3-3-5 defense, you better have the skill players to cover and stuff like that. So that's a real issue. So I expect guys like Jaden, like Mickey, guys, and I might almost think that Mickey might become the second cornerback, and they'll move Cam Hart to the nickel cornerback because just for sheer depth issues. And then also that true freshman that we recruited, I think Christian Gray, I bet you he will end up getting a lot of playing time if they don't bring in a transfer, because that guy Clarence Lewis is not going to cut it. Can you imagine him trying to cover anybody on Ohio State?
Yeah.
If he can't cover Thomas, he's going to get smoked. They're going to, and that's what's smart about a guy like Ryan Day. He picks on you. He's like, wherever that guy's on the field, we're throwing to whoever he's covering, and he picks on you, similar to what they did to Clarence Lewis in the bowl game against Oklahoma State. So that guy, I mean, that's very concerning. I would say that we have some real depth problems there. And so that would be the one takeaway I got from the defense. And then also, Snead better play. Like, he better be a starter. He leads the team in tackles. He's got a nose for the football. He's a 5-star guy. If you're going to recruit 5 stars, you better play them early. I don't want to see this nonsense where he's like sharing snaps with Maris Leopold, like, or something like that. It's ridiculous. Snead needs to start.
But I think
he's got a nose for the football.
I know. I wanted that too. And give me a blend. It doesn't have to be all young guys, but give them a chance to go out there and make plays. I think you could be pleasantly surprised, but you're going to have to let them do it, you know? And you're going to have to see it. I don't know, but thanks for the call, my friend. Really deep thoughts there. Anything else as we wrap up?
No, just, you know, I wish I was at that tailgate. It looked like it was a good time, but I think it's all positives, like, coming out of the spring game. I mean, Jack Cohn won 11 games as a Notre Dame quarterback. I get that the schedule was a little easier, but Hartman is better than Jack Cohn. He's not a statue.
I was going to say he can actually move, not in slow motion. That's a good start.
Exactly. Like Jack, if you go back and look at Jack Cohn's stats, he threw 25 touchdown passes. He obliterated. Remember that Florida State game to open? He threw like 300 yards almost in the first half. Like, if you have a decent quarterback in this system, you'll be pretty good. And so we got Sam Hartman, who's better than Jack Cohn. He will be better than Jack Cohn. So I think this is positive. I think Sam Hartman gives us a chance to beat Ohio State and beat USC. the issue I find is even though Jaden Greathouse had a great game, I think it's asking a lot to, for a true freshman to do something great.
It is asking a lot. But that's it is asking a lot. But again, now that's the position we're in. It's not ideal, but the only way to dig out of the mismanagement at the wide receiver room is you got to get caught up somehow. Having a young guy play like that might be one of the ways. Like you're almost stuck.
Yeah, the problem,
The
problem though, John, is when you're a true freshman, your body, I get that they got him into school early, so they're working on their body. Like I think Braylon James already put on 15 pounds of muscle, but your body is not used to the attrition of college football. You're playing high school football, you're dominating. You're probably sitting out the second half against a lot of games because they don't want to get you injured. Like college football is way more rigorous. Like, so can true freshmen?
You know what my answer to that is? My answer to that is why you cannot have a wide recruiting class where you get like one or no wide receivers in it, and then nobody develops, and then guys leave, and then you end up with the bare cupboard, and then you have to over recruit wide receivers, and then some of them are going to have to play young to dig you out of that hole. Like this is the result of a problem that started 3, 4, 5 years ago. Is really what you're seeing now. Not ideal, but if you might be pleasantly surprised. I don't know, but it's definitely not ideal, but it's where we're at. Thanks a lot for the call, my friend.
What was Tommy Rees doing with Del Alexander? It's like everybody puts that on BK, which obviously he was checked out recruiting wise, but the offensive coordinator is in charge of like your assistant coaches. So like he was not scrutinizing what Del Alexander was doing. And so that really did put us in a major hole.
Yeah.
At least Chancey Stuckey is recruiting well, but my worries is he running off wide receivers? Like, I mean, Caleb Smith, like that's a valuable veteran, not on the team anymore. And then Styles, it's like, I get that he's happy that he's recruiting these awesome wide receivers, but I just like, I don't know. I hope he's not falling into the trap of the coaches who only like the guys they recruited, and that does happen in football. So.
Yeah, nope. Really good points, my friend. And now we have all summer to think about all this and stew about it. It's going to be interesting. But I was encouraged by a lot of what I saw. I wasn't expecting that level of efficiency from Artman, and that's one of my biggest takeaways. Really appreciate the call on a Monday, my friend.
Thanks, John.
Have a good one. Man, that guy always thinks everything through. Everything through. Oh, my phone's freezing. What's going on? 937. Good morning.
Hey, John, it's your favorite Buckeye fan. How are you doing?
Yeah, what's up, man? What do you make of Notre Dame's blue and gold game there? Did you see any of it?
Yes, I did. Yes. Well, you know what? I'll say this. I did not purchase the Peacock app because I didn't want to watch the whole thing. But I did see a bunch of it on
Notre
Twitter.
Dame fans that love Notre Dame aren't willing to pay. Some of them are like, screw that, John. I'm not doing it. Like Notre Dame fans I know weren't even willing to pay for Peacock. I wouldn't expect you to. Yeah, no, I don't hold that against you at all, bro.
I watched a bunch on YouTube also, but this is my takeaways. My first question is this. Tyler Buckner, he was played up all spring and turned out to be a big flop. I kind of feel like in his career, I know he's had these injuries, but when he's been healthy, he's been played up. But he's been, in my opinion, he's been the most overrated quarterback probably since Jimmy Clausen, at least as far as what I've been hearing versus what I've actually seen. And
isn't that frustrating? Listen, man, I really struggle with it. I really struggle when I hear behind the scenes, all the stuff I don't see, a guy looks great. And then when I see it, then I don't see that. Like when I do see it, I don't see that. And then I'm like, well, they all said that's what it was. But when it was in front of my eyes, I didn't see it. Like, I don't know what else to do.
Right. The guy I think he has a problem between the ears. The guy makes a ton of mistakes. I'm a Buckeye fan. If I had to go up between the Hartman or Tyler, I would definitely take Tyler. Matter of fact, one of the notes I wrote down here is I said Ohio State should hire a private investigator to figure out if Notre Dame was tampering with Hartman before he entered to try to get a 5-game suspension going. But
listen.
Hartman,
I think they're probably with the timing. with the timing, I don't think it's really any question that there was some of that going on. But if we're going that route, a lot of programs are getting shut down tomorrow. If we're going there, I dare you, go to LA, start sniffing around Southern Cal if you want to start going down that route. So if you want to talk about tampering, woo, buddy, come on now.
I'm completely kidding, but yeah, no, Hartman's the man. I think
if you're not tampering, you're not trying, baby. In the modern era, if you ain't tampering, you're not trying. I feel like that's where we're at pretty much. Yeah.
Right. Well, the other thing too, which really points to good things for Hartman, is that he was a part, and so was Buckner, of this drafting process. And I listened to the Irish breakdown. They said that Buckner had all the top skill guys were on Buckner's team versus Hartman's team.
Yeah.
So he did that with the lower end skill guys.
Yeah.
And it seemed like he knew how to pick the team better. This guy I think he has it. I think he has it between the ears. I think he's.
And if you don't listen, man, if you listen, you better have it between your ears. If you're a 6th-year guy, that's like the key feature that you should come with featured is I'm a 6th-year guy. I know what the hell's going on. I can make smooth progressions and reads and get in and out of these plays. All of that simple stuff has been a struggle for us lately. So even that's refreshing for me. And I know that's a low ceiling, but I'm working with what I've been seeing the last couple of years, and it's been frustrating.
Right. He's the guy. And another thing about Buckner real quick is that I know the previous caller, I have to disagree with him. Look at Ian Book. Ian Book was so good because of his scrambling ability. Like, he was an underrated quarterback in the sense. I know he's a 3-star. He might not be able to win you the big games. But as far as his scramble ability, he played more towards the higher end 4-star level, in my opinion. But they used his scrambling abilities in order to do that. And I think they were looking to do the same thing with Tyler Buckner. I just don't think Buckner has it. That's all I want to leave with that. I thought the running backs looked great for Notre Dame. They have a great running back room. So does Ohio State, by the way. So that'll be interesting to see. But also, real quick, you might not know this, the Midwest 11 happened over the weekend, and Lloyd Carr's grandson was there. I think there was about, maybe 20 or so quarterbacks at this. And from what I'm hearing through some of the rumor mills is that Lloyd Carr's son looked the best out of all the quarterbacks there. Now, there's a wide range of ages there, but not everybody was there from the 24 class. But it really sounds like you're getting a good one from Lloyd Carr's grandson there. Yeah, he looked really good.
Yeah, it should be a good one. Should be a good one. And the other thing, I had this talk at the tailgate too. Notre Dame fans are always worried about our guys leaving or ditching us, for NIL in the last minute, that kind of thing. And it's a legitimate concern since it happened at the top of the class last year. However, the one thing we came up with is I know that the Carrs aren't hurting for money. So maybe that'll help because I know CJ Carr's family isn't going, we could use an extra $1 million. I think that family's set. So I don't think I got to worry about him getting bought out, I don't think.
No, he's going to be a Midwest guy too. So yeah. That's the other thing. I think that's good with him. And with Michigan getting, a 5-star guy also, there's no chance he goes to Michigan. It's going to be Notre Dame all the way.
Yeah.
And then real quick, also just looking at around the country, Alabama, their quarterbacks look terrible. So for what that's worth,
yeah, I heard
Hartman
that.
Looking great.
They were mad. I know. I saw that. They're like, how can Alabama have all this talent and all that, but the quarterbacks all look bad and all? I saw there was a lot of reaction there. And again, it's like, I know they have a ton of talent. That's never going to be the issue. So I'm not going to overreact to that. Tommy's first spring game, all of that, I'm not going to overdo it.
Yeah, but I would say this. You throw under 50% in a spring game when you're basically throwing against a 7-on-7, you have no fear of getting hit. That's very concerning. And both those quarterbacks, one guy threw like 12 for 26, so that's even way worse than 50%, and the other guy threw exactly 50%. So, and then one last note, Lorenzo Styles. I know this has probably been, talk through a bunch. But I was thinking about this, and I remember talking to you last time about how his brother played defense, and maybe he saw the writing on the wall, and he's got a pretty good lineage for defense. But also thinking about this is that for him at least, he's restarting the position, and so he starting from scratch might be the best idea for him. And then also too, I don't know if he's going to go to Ohio State, but that's kind of what everybody says.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have he might not even be getting a scholarship though, because they're over the limit right now. And I don't know with NIL, if this is a good question for you on your show. With NIL, does scholarships even mean anything? Because heck, you could pay a guy, $300,000 and he can just give his scholarship away and pay for school himself. So
yeah.
So,
That's a good point.
Right. So I think it is interesting that he's going to start from scratch, start the position. Ohio State really doesn't need any corners this year. Maybe in a year he could probably play if he's good, but I think that's probably why he's switching over, because he's just going to start from scratch. He's starting a new position, have people that have never seen him before go ahead and grade him out. But that's it for me, unless you got any questions.
Yeah, no, I like getting what I like when you call is because it's outside of our circle. And so you don't really have like a Notre Dame dog in the hunt or any of that. And I know that you're fair about the way you look at things. So I really appreciate it, because it's more of like a neutral look from the outside of like, what will we be going up against rather than what do we have? And those are very different ways to look at a ball game, what we have versus what we're going up against. So I always like when you chime in like that. So I think Notre Dame's offense is trending up and should be very good. And then we see what else happens.
I think the Ohio State Notre Dame game, it's going to be a battle of strengths, and we'll talk about it going into the year. But I have some good gut feelings about how the game's going to end up. I don't know the winner yet. I haven't thought that far through, but
oh my God, you're getting way ahead of yourself. You're getting way ahead of yourself, man. Look at that. That's like August dreaming there, where the season's close and you start getting these vibes of how things are going to go. Yeah, I like it.
Okay, well, talk to you later, John, and have a great day.
Hey, man, I really appreciate it. I do. I like you paying attention to Notre Dame this close. Give me a call next time you have a thought. Appreciate you.
Okay, sounds good.
Have a good one. What a nice guy, man. What a nice guy. We'll go from a nice guy to a bad guy. What's up, Pat?
You 3? I got 20 years of buying you beer, and you make me go 3?
Well, geez, how many did you buy just Saturday? Man.
I brought a ton of beer on Saturday.
I know. I still got a bunch left.
I know.
What's up?
All right, so I got a number of things. The tailgate. That was really cool to see all those people come out and support you. As somebody who has known you for 20 years, it's pretty interesting to see that people actually like you outside of like Angela and myself.
Yeah, I know.
And your dad.
Yeah, I know. Like any of you had a choice, like, yeah, you're right. I know.
To Craig and Adam, Craig for bringing all the food, Adam for cooking all the food stuff. That was pretty awesome. Those guys are great. To everybody who was there when we did our little toast to Tyler, for those of you who don't know, John and I lost a dear friend 15 years ago last Friday, and so we did a little toast to him. So I appreciate everybody for showing some love for our long lost friend, long departed friend, Tyler Grace. Yeah, the weather was something else, Johnny. There was one point people were taking clothes off because it got so hot. And then all of a sudden the rain came and we were shoving Angela's kids in the back of your dad's car because it got so damn cold.
Yeah. Then the freezing rain and then the snow. And then I mean, it's wild. It's South Bend. It's a dumb lake. That lake messes everything up.
Yeah. It was pretty crazy. So the game, like I didn't take, so the game answered one obvious question to me. Everything that we were hearing out of camp, that it was, Buckner and Hartman clearly was off base. There wasn't a more obvious showing that Hartman is the guy. He came out like the guy. He put the ball where the ball was supposed to go. He was quick through his reads. he was the guy. He played great. Buckner looked lost, and to be, your third spring game and to just look lost like that's not a good sign at all. So very, very disappointing to see
Pat,
Buckner, the way he performed.
Look at what Angela just put on the screen. She's coming after you.
Yeah, trust me, Angela. They were begging Lauren to go with us.
Yeah, they wanted to leave. No, that's funny.
Way. You know what I did? I took Lauren over to the bookstore, and she racked up $400 on my credit card in no time.
There you go.
Everything else as far as the game is concerned, like with the mixed roster, I don't mind that they did this, but with the mixed roster, you couldn't get a real tough. Is the offense really good? Is the defense really bad?
Yeah.
Is Hartman really good? Or what? So you couldn't tell. So I'm actually fine that they did that because I can sit back and think.
All right, now wait. All right, let me give you this.
Let
me give you this, and this is one that I've heard and read ever since we got back from the game. We talked Friday before the game on the rosters. As far as like a throwing roster goes, Buckner seemed to have the advantage in terms of names that you trust and know that you would expect production out of in a spring game. So then you're looking at that. But one of the big takeaways a lot of people had after the game was that the blue offensive line struggled a lot more than the gold one that Hartman had. And then I saw people saying, how much of Buckner's struggles was that he had the weaker offensive line, and then that sped up his clock, and he already struggles with that anyways, and then that's how things look all rushed, and that's how all the balls end up skipping to people. It just all kind of turns into a thing,
I mean, right. So, okay, but who were the guys on the defensive line?
Right. Like you can play that game every which way in the blue and gold. Yeah.
It was so intermingled. You weren't gonna be able to make a good assertion of who played well. But the thing is, though, that first sack that Buckner had, that guy got in on him quick. But there was another one. He just didn't throw the ball. He just stood there too long looking. And then there was just plays where he just looked lost. He couldn't go through progression. I don't know. It was just odd, and it just kind of. He just didn't look good. I mean, it's just nothing else to it.
So what do you, Pat? Wait, Pat. Let me ask you this. Here's what I've really been struggling with too. I kept hearing, Buckner looks good behind the scenes. When we do the thing, they let the media in there for a few minutes. He's on point and he's throwing the ball. It all looks good. Blah 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 blah. I've been hearing all of that. How are you as a fan supposed to think of this when you have all the articles and all those guys on podcasts that have been in those practices saying the guy looked great? But then when I get to see it, it's nothing even close to real life good enough. It's like the golf is not close. If it was close, I could get it. But I saw two different things from what was reported and written about. And then what I saw with my own eyes did not match. They were not close at all. And then you're putting me in a position to either believe my own eyes when I saw it, or just believe the last month of reporting I didn't see. I'm sorry. I'm going with my own eyes and what I felt and what I saw. I'm sorry. I am.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Because I hope that the reports out of camp about how good he looked were just like in throwing sessions where he doesn't have a rush. He's got nobody standing in front of him, and he's got 15 yards between him and a wide open wide receiver. I would also absolutely expect him to make that throw 99 out of 100 times. So that's what I'm hoping, that it was sharp. If otherwise, we were being sold a bill of goods. We were absolutely being sold a bill of goods, and it doesn't surprise me from this media because they're sycophants. They will go all in on something because they think it creates a great storyline, even though it's not true. And that is the Notre Dame media. That's always been the Notre Dame media. I mean, there are the few outcasts who do that, but that's usually the case with the Notre Dame media.
Yeah,
but the proof's in the pudding, man. That guy, Hartman threw the ball. Hartman threw the ball, and it was nice.
Yeah, it just looked like an offense.
It was good to see.
It looked like an offense with a little rhythm and a little flow, and it looked like it had a maestro.
Yeah,
it looked like it had a maestro out there, not one guy and 10 other guys. One leader getting everything lined up and moving up and down the field. It just looked like comfortable, competent quarterback play is what it looked like.
Yeah, it was sharp.
And I'm not used to that. That's why we're excited. Oh, John, you're overreacting. I'm just excited to see normal, competent quarterback stuff. Sue me.
Which is what I said I wanted to see. Like it wasn't world beater, but he didn't need to be world beater. He just looked confident. He looked like he knew what he was doing. That's all I said I wanted to do. So that's also why I left the spring game, because my wife, well, first of all, my wife was drunk and she's sitting there standing in the stands talking. And Angela wasn't even watching the spring game. Her and Lauren were sitting there talking for 10 minutes, but I knew she was drunk. It started sleeting again on us. And I saw what I needed to see out of Sam Hartman. I stayed for his first 3 series. I was like, all right, I'm going to go to the bookstore. I'm going to buy a bunch of stuff, and then I'm going to go home and start drinking again. So that was kind of the progression that we went through. But then the last thing I wanted to talk about, John, was Freeman on Styles. Did you hear the comments Freeman made about Styles transferring?
I don't think I did.
I don't know
I
if it
missed
came up before the spring game or after the spring game.
I must have missed that. I did not hear it.
Yeah, I think it came out after the spring game. But Freeman remarked that his only retort to Styles and his dad when they came to him and said that Styles was going to transfer was that he said it really bothers him to see a kid lose out on his opportunity to get a degree from Notre Dame, which I agree with 100%. That's kind of the point, right? We bring these kids to Notre Dame to have them be good football players, but also get that degree from Notre Dame. That's what Notre Dame has always stood for. But I also think that doesn't make Freeman look very good after what happened with Drew Pine. Drew Pine didn't give the same retort, or Stu didn't get the same retort. And this, I don't want anybody out there saying, oh, I'm a Drew Pine guy. It's not about whether or not I like Drew Pine. I'm just talking about integrity and character right now. And that's something that we hold to value for Marcus Freeman because that is something he has shown. But his comments on Lorenzo Style were the exact opposite comments on Drew Pine. He pretty much told that kid, you're not going to play here. Go get in the transfer portal. That kid did not get his degree from Notre Dame. And that is something I do not appreciate. Now, I know we talked about this. He's trying to purge the portal to get guys in here. But he didn't give Drew Pine the opportunity to transfer. He didn't say, Drew Pine, you got to get your degree from Notre Dame. He said, Drew Pine, you got to transfer from Notre Dame. But if he's going to make that comment for Styles, and then he's going to do what he did to Pine, that is not something I like. That's something. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of how these two different situations have contrasted, and that raises an alarm for me on Freeman. It truly does.
I mean,
every player should get the same opportunity. If you give them, I don't care if Brian Kelly gave him the scholarship or if Marcus Freeman gave him the scholarship. Every player should get the same opportunity. They should get the opportunity to graduate from Notre Dame. If the player decides they don't want that, that's fine. Notre Dame should. We say 4 for 40, John. We don't say 4. We don't say 1 for 4. It's 4 for 40. So if you're telling these kids that you're going to come to Notre Dame and you're going to get to the degree and it's going to set you up for the rest of your life, regardless of what your playing career does. And then you're telling the kid he's got to transfer because you're going to bring another kid in, and he's never going to, and this kid's not going to play anymore. And then you're doing the exact opposite for another kid because you think he has more talent. That doesn't sit high on the integrity list for me.
Yeah, and could that just be the format of like when he talked about it, like a different opportunity to address it and present it or whatever? I don't know. I don't know. But I guess publicly you're saying if you have the opportunity, then you should have that same kind of line both ways, is what you're saying.
You should have the same line both ways. I'm fine if he came out and said, Drew Pine, we asked Drew Pine to stay. We told him the likelihood of playing isn't great, but he's got a scholarship here. But everyone knows in the back, that's not what happened. Everyone knows he went to Pine and said, you're not going to play anymore. We're bringing in another guy. You should probably go.
Yeah.
That's how that conversation truly went. I mean, Pine said as much. So again, and we hold Freeman high because he seemed to be an absolutely guy of integrity. These two contrasting situations is not integrity. That is not high integrity to me. So for all the people to say I'm always blowing Marcus Freeman, here's one where I'm upset by the actions of Freeman.
There you go. Document it. We'll document it. Anything else on your mind, Pat?
Yeah.
Had a great time. Thank you for the help.
Yeah. Oh, anytime, buddy. Anytime. You make me wait 3 again, I'm not calling back.
That's fine. I know. I got to weigh all the beer that you bought for me for like 20 years versus these new people.
Over a lifetime.
But that's what I figure. You already like me for 20 years. These are people I want to like me. These are people I want to like me. You're already stuck with me, you idiot.
You're arguing with me has made you good at this. I'm the one who made you good at this.
Oh, is that what it is now? Is that what it is? Thanks. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Your coaching did it, Pat. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Pine did not lead this. Yes, Pine left the team before the bowl game. Pine was told to transfer. He could have stayed for the bowl game, but he was told to transfer.
Yeah.
So he left. It doesn't matter when.
Oh, all right, Pat.
Right.
Anything
Yeah,
else? Or are you
all
all
right, I'll
good?
talk to you later.
Ready to start your Monday now?
All right.
All right. Thanks, Pat.
Yeah.
Oh,
later.
see ya. Unbelievable. We got a lot of energy here today. I'm going to tell you guys this right now. I'm sick of talking about the other shows in my chat. Can we just stop? Like, I'm usually not like this, but I'm getting annoyed. So I don't give a shit about the other shows. Everybody does their own thing. Everybody works hard. We're not even in the same niches. So I don't even want to get into all this. Just stop talking about it, please. I don't care. In fact, what I encourage Notre Dame fans to watch a bunch of different shows. I never want a Notre Dame fan to do, this is my Notre Dame guy. I'm only going to watch this show. Don't do that to yourself. If you have the time, bounce around. Go to some other shows for the X's and O's part. Come to me for how it makes you feel in the entertainment part or whatever you want to do. I don't even look at myself in the same lane as a lot of the other people who do similar stuff because the way I go about it is not X's and O's, analytics and all. That's just not the most interesting thing to me. Everybody who does this in this niche works really hard on their content. I respect all that. But I don't want to turn my chat into debating the other shows. Like, that's just not healthy for everybody. Everybody watch whoever you want, whenever you want. I do not care. I'm doing my thing. It's never going to change. And I don't care what anybody else thinks of me, thinks of my show, thinks of my fans. I don't care. I'm way past caring. This is my lane and we're riding it out till I stroke out on the air. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. 646 Bruce. What up, baby?
John, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's going on, man? Oh, just your voice soothes me, man. I hear that voice. You just calm. My blood pressure went down just hearing you, Bruce.
I'm glad I could help, man. Your blood pressure needs to go down.
Yeah, no kidding. Tell me about it. What did you make of the blue and gold affair? What are your takeaways?
So actually, I just wanted to call in because I'm actually watching the blue and gold game right now. I actually am a Peacock subscriber. For whatever reason, I don't know what made me get Peacock, but it was even before the Notre Dame stuff. Regardless, that's good because I actually didn't see it on Saturday, so I'm watching it now. And I just wanted to call in and briefly just say that, we talked about it on the show last week. You and I talked about it offline that I have concerns regarding Sam Hartman, but it looks good. And
yeah.
I can't deny that.
Now wait, let's re-rack this for the group. One of the things that you brought up as a potential concern would be the structure of that offense. He had all that success in at his previous stop with the slow mesh and all that. How will that translate over? How will he transition and adapt to a new setup, more of a pro style? So that's what we were talking about. I do think when I rewatched the game when I got home, I think there was one play where he kind of did the mesh thing but it wasn't just out of muscle memory, kind of did that. And they mentioned it on the broadcast, but he looked like he was in control of the offense. And that was the number one thing I was hoping to see, Bruce.
Hello? I think I'm losing you there.
I got you. You still there?
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I got it. Okay. No, I think one of my big concerns was, as you mentioned, that slow mesh, but what I underestimated was being a sixth-year guy, the amount of experience that creates and the amount of football he's played and how that will help ease the transition into a new system. And, obviously it's just a spring game. We can't take too much from it, but he looked good. He didn't look like he was missing too much. He's got all summer to continue to work and learn the system. And I was moderately impressed. I'm not ready to jump up and down and declare a national champion, but definitely impressed. I just wanted to call in and say, some of my fears on that front were allayed.
Yeah, and I just feel a little better. He looked like a guy in control of the offense, and that just looks very different than most of what we saw last year. And like It's very hard, man. That sounds like a very low bar to clear. However, I felt it was kind of where we were at. And so I think we're just starting in a much, much healthier spot. And I can't see that doing anything but help in the whole operation.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think's going to happen with, but wait, what do you think's going to happen with Buckner then, Bruce? Does he stick it out, try and ride it out and start next year? Or do you think he might say, I've had enough of this? What's realistic?
He loves being there.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that was what I gathered from him, and just in my brief interaction with him, and just he said all the right things. Looked like he really wants to compete. One of the things that I'm older, I'm 44, and so one of the problems I have with this generation of athletes, both in football and basketball, seems like more so in basketball, but even a little bit in football, seems like the competitiveness is not there the way it was in previous generations. I don't know if that has to do with the enormity of the money on the professional level, but on the whole, it seems like guys don't want to compete the same way. And now even in college with the transfer portal working the way it's working, and I'm not against the transfer portal, but it makes a lot of guys, I'm not naming names, but it makes a lot of guys not necessarily be willing to stay there, compete, stick it out, earn their shot the way it was in the past. And so to see him, at least until this point, be willing to really compete, and for Marcus Freeman, even if it's in the back of his mind that Hartman is going to be the starter, it is nice that he seems to have a legitimate quarterback competition open, and iron sharpens iron, and it looks like that's what these guys are trying to do, and that's the environment that he being Marcus Freeman is attempting to foster.
Yeah, and you know what, man? It makes a lot of sense. Like, I mean, if you really love Notre Dame, you really love Notre Dame. Like, I totally get it. And I love his loyalty, and I love what a good, respectful kid he is. I love how hard he tries and all that. It's just been one little setback after the next, and it's just very, very frustrating. I don't know. Anything, hey, Bruce, anything on the defense? Did you notice anything from the defense that popped to you? I know we spent a lot of time talking about the quarterbacks because why wouldn't we? Anything on that side of the ball pop up to you?
It didn't. I mean, I'm still watching the game. Like, as we're talking, I'm watching on my computer right now. But and in fairness, I'm not particularly watching the defense with a keen eye. I'm looking more specifically at that quarterback battle that we discussed. And I'm not. So no, to answer your question, no. But real quick, back to the quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm wondering why Buckner is having so much difficulty, because again, we've seen him in instances really play well. We've seen that. We've seen him make the big throws and make the big runs. And I'm curious. I don't know. Maybe I heard one of your previous callers say it's between the ears, and maybe it is. This is a tough spot for him to be in. But again, I love the fact that he wants to compete.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. He is a true competitor, and he's respectful as the day is long. It's like the perfect Notre Dame guy. I just needed on the field to be a little more consistent and better. I don't know, Bruce. I love feeling like the offense is in a lot better place, and that is like my chief concern. And I think we're heading in the right direction there. And it's going to be a long summer to stew over all the what is unknown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Man, yeah, that's definitely going to be a tough one. Not looking forward to that, man. College football season is really on. Most people love the summer. I hate it because there's only baseball for months.
Yeah. And my baseball team's already dead. We're not even through 1 month, and my baseball team's dead. So I'm ready for college football already. My team's dead in the water. So it didn't even last a month, and my team's a carcass. Unbelievable.
Yep. But anyway, John, thanks for taking the call, man. Just wanted to drop in with my thoughts on that.
Beautiful. Fantastic. Hey, let me know when you want me to hop on. I'm happy to hop on your show. Let me know. We'll set up a time. I'm happy to join whenever.
Outstanding, man. Yeah, we'll do that.
Beautiful.
I actually reached out to that guy I normally tell you about. I reached out to him this morning, so
awesome.
Hopefully I'll be able to set something up.
Perfect, man. That'll be great. Anytime you want me to hop on, let me know, my friend.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. We'll do it.
Have a good one. Take care, Bruce. Go follow him, the Format Podcast, Bruce Hope on Twitter. You can't miss him. Really nice guy. Loyal guy, military vet, respectful, good family man. Notre Dame guy stuck in Jacksonville. Give the guy some love. Here we go. the grill master himself from the tailgate. Adam, how you doing, bud?
What's up, buddy? Have you dried out? Have you dried out yet?
Hey, I dried out, but I went in the garage. The green jacket's still wet. I threw it in there when we got home. The green jacket's still wet. I got to air dry that baby.
Oh, no. Yeah.
But Adam, wait. Adam, everybody needs to know. Adam's out there with me and Pat. He's grilling. He's in the elements and all that, doing this. We're in the stands in a blizzard and a hurricane and everything else. Adam's family's across the way in a private luxury box eating steak dinner and stuff. Why were you with us and not them?
I like being with the people, if you know what I mean. Makes you feel more alive, not up there in that little boring, yuppie box.
Man, you sent me the video from inside that thing. If ever there was a day to do it, it would have been Saturday. I love you for hanging out with us and not going up in the luxury suite there, my friend. That's real loyalty, and I appreciate you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Anytime. It was a good time. But about the game a little bit, I mean, what do you think? I mean, I think that we're so starved for just average offensive play.
Yep.
Just seeing Hartman in a rhythm.
Yep.
His back foot hit.
Yep.
The ball's out.
Yep.
It's on people on time. It's just a guy that knows how to play quarterback.
Yeah.
And John, I've always been the biggest Buckner supporter. I stick up for him all the time. I think he's got a ton of God-given ability if he can put it all together. But after watching that, it's hard to believe that people were saying that Buckner was playing better than him. And, Sam only had, Thomas and Greathouse. All the other receivers are on the other team.
Yeah, no, you're right. But, dude, it makes you – I was thinking about that since the game. I'm going, wait a second, man. Am I overvaluing what I saw from Hartman? I actually had to ask myself, am I overvaluing just the fact that it looked like we had a guy in control of the operation, kind of being the guy in charge and knowing what's going on? It did cross my mind. Is the bar that low that I'm getting excited just that we have normal quarterback play with the guy you could distribute and do what you need to do? But at the same time, I liked what I saw. I feel good. I think Notre Dame's quarterback situation right now, it's better than what we're used to, and that's progress.
Yeah, I mean, even if something were to happen where Sam would go down or something, you still have. I'm hoping Buckner stays because it could be his team next year. But if something happens where he goes down or something, you still got a good backup quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Adam, I don't know what's going on here. Somebody wrote, wow, cousin Luke has posted 2 positive comments. Somebody better go check on him. Somebody's hijacked his phone. He's writing nice. He's writing good stuff. Who stole his phone? Unbelievable.
I think everyone's so excited, John, because you actually it looked like a good, well-called, just a well-rounded team running that wide offense, or the gold, I mean. And it just were in rhythm. It just looked like a solid performance. And we don't see that very often.
Yeah. Yep. It just looked like what I feel like it should look like all the time at Notre Dame, and then get better from there. I'm telling you, dude, it poisons your mind. When you get bad or average quarterback play for so long, and that's your team, you get sucked into that world, and that is like what you're used to, and I don't like it.
Now, I know some people were beating up the other receivers a little bit, Merriweather and Colby, but they were on the other team. I mean, it's not a coincidence that everyone's loving Greathouse and Thomas today because they were on the gold team.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You know what else too, man? I've been struggling with the people saying it's a bad thing that Greathouse did that much in the spring game because you shouldn't be in a position where you need to maybe rely on a guy that young to give you meaningful snaps and all that. I agree that that's not ideal, but it is our reality. And the wide receiver room has been behind for a lot of years due to inefficient recruiting and development. Now they're trying to catch up. This is when you have to pay that bill. is when it all comes together, where you have those classes where you barely recruited anybody and then guys left. There's a gap there. That's where you need a younger guy to jump in and then fill it. So that's just where we're at. So I'm open to it because it's the best we got. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, they have to. We haven't recruited receivers in years. I mean, we just haven't.
Hey,
I mean, it's really sad. A program like Notre Dame has not had any top-level wide receiver play. You know, the top schools have guys constantly transferring because they're not getting on the field. We haven't even had anybody.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's so frustrating. And you know, the other thing too is I'm thinking about this. I'm hearing some smoke about some commitments coming and a few silence that happened over the weekend, all that. Take it with the grain of salt. Like we all got burned last year. You know how that goes.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
I know. But I'm hearing a lot of good things there. Chancey Stuckey's doing a really, really good job with the wide receiver. And my only thing is you just hope that guy sticks around. He is recruiting and developing really, really well. And he came in with a very tough job and an empty cupboard and a quarterback that couldn't get the guys he did have the ball. Chancey Stuckey's doing a great job. And whenever he goes to the NFL, it's going to hurt me.
Yeah, Chancey Stuckey and Mike Nickens deserve big pay rates.
Yeah. Hey, can I make you mad on a Monday morning? Can I ask you something that I know is going to upset you?
Go for it.
How do you feel about USC getting that good Georgia player to come across the country? How do you feel about that? I'm sure. No, Adam.
When is somebody going to do something about this? Like, it's out of control. Like, it used to be.
Let's go.
Like, us at Notre Dame, we have to recruit for years to build our program. This guy's got 37 transfers.
Yeah.
He can really rebuild a program in a day just with bags of cash. It's ridiculous.
No, Adam. No, you're wrong. He's doing this for educational reasons, obviously, Adam. Don't you know that? It's all about the books, man. It's all about.
Before he got in the portal.
It is tough.
He even got in the portal. They said, "Oh yeah, he's going to USC."
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough. We're over here.
He's got 37 transfers.
Yeah,
Lincoln Riley.
37 transfers. Wait, that's not even the recruiting class. You got 37 transfers plus all the guys in the recruiting class. Unbelievable.
Nobody wanted to go to USC for 15 years. The minute NIL comes back into play, USC's like, oh, great, now we can go back to our old ways.
Yep.
And now everybody wants to go to LA. All of a sudden, if there's cash flowing.
Yep. I'm sorry to do that to you on a Monday morning. I didn't want to get you all worked up, but I couldn't pass it up because I know it's been bothering you. Oh, man.
On a serious note, though, John, it makes me so mad because we're talking about putting recruiting classes together, stacking them to build back. Why other programs? They do it in one off season. Get 30-some, just flip their whole roster while Freeman's got to work his tail off. You know?
And so what that does is Notre Dame's got to be, the margin for error for us is so small. Like when you recruit guys, you got to hit on them and there's not a lot of margin for error. We're not able to go, oh, this guy flamed out or got hurt or failed out of school or whatever. Now we'll just go get another 3 guys from the portal. We got to be so much more precise. It's almost a joke. It's not school out there. It has nothing to do with school out there. It's just Hollywood living, baby. Hollywood living. That's it.
What I hate about it, and I tweeted this, it's we all love college football. We love the passion of college football. What it's turning into is pro football, pay for play with no salary caps or contracts. So I'm starting to think it's kind of ruining the game. I was always for NIL. Like kids getting on campus, they could do some commercials, advertise, make money, but the pay for play is what really bothers me.
Yeah. See, Newt Rockney here. I know he's just trying to get us worked up. He says, hey, John, don't be like that. Transfers are 100% legal. Either do it or shut up. The transfers aren't the problem. It's the pay for play leading to the transfer. Those are different things.
Come on. Why would a great D lineman leave Georgia to go to USC? I mean, come on. Only one reason.
Yeah, it is interesting though. What, did he have a fallout there with Georgia's coaching staff? Like, I never heard what initiated that change. I don't know.
But back up a little bit more of a positive note. I mean, the rest of the team, John, you know what else I like? I mean, the young, we talked about this in the stands, the young linebackers. I see a lot of speed, all of them.
Yep.
A lot of speed like we haven't seen before. Ziegler, Bowen, Asbury.
Yep.
I mean,
Zinter.
I see a ton. Yeah, Sneed. Forget about
Yep.
Sneed. You know, I mean, there is a ton of young talent like we haven't had there before.
Yeah,
and maybe it'll push Bertrand and Maris, knowing these guys are coming behind them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I do feel, and you have Osbury as a young guy in there too. It feels like they've done a really good job there, and that they're going to have options. It's just a matter of finding the right blend of youth and experience and athleticism, like finding the right role for guys, whatever you want to do. I just hope that whole unit looks a little more put together this year, week to week.
Yeah.
Adam, what about defense? What about the defensive front? Anything? It's hard in a spring game, but were you able to make any heads or tails of the defensive fronts in that game?
Not really.
It's easier to watch offense when they're throwing it, but like it's kind of hard to watch that.
I feel like the blue offensive line kept on blowing a bunch of assignments, and they were like just letting Botello run free when he was on the end. So it looked like there was some serious mistakes with that blue offensive line. So it was hard to really see anybody. You know what I did see that I noticed was Tyson Ford. He seemed to make quite a few plays. So that's the one guy that really stood out that I noticed.
Yeah, I think a lot of people came out of this maybe feeling a little better about that defensive front that I'm still kind of worried about, but came out feeling a little better about maybe some of the depth and rotation there. You know, but then again, it's like, let's see how they hold up against Ohio State and we'll have a lot better idea. You know, that's a long time from now though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I feel a lot better about the way the talent's coming in. The skill position, everything just looks more talented to me.
Yeah, that's
now
good.
We got to see if they produce on the field, but just the look of them, everyone's look, they just look faster and more talented. So hopefully we can have a good season and just kind of keep Freeman his recruiting rolling.
Yep. And I did hear, I don't know if you were on earlier, I did hear a couple people told me there's good news coming on that front. Be ready for it in the next, hopefully, few weeks or a month, multiple guys. So we'll see, but I did get those messages today.
Okay, good. Sounds good. The only thing we got to do is the next game we have a tailgate together, get Pat to stay more than an hour at the game, and we'll be all right.
No kid, man. Pat came for the party, and then he saw Hartman go. We get in the game. He sees Hartman go up and down the field a couple times. Pat's like, I've seen what I need to see. Calmly walks out and goes back to the house and drinks. It's beautiful. I love it. He saw what he needed to see. He saw what he needed to see, and he was out. I love it.
Yeah, he was right. He was like, I've seen it all. That's all I need to see. I'm out of here.
Dude,
that was great.
It is the most Pat thing ever to just be so sure. I have seen what I need to see. I'm getting the hell out of here. I love it. I respect it.
I love it.
All right, Adam.
Buddy, I'll get off and let you get to someone else. But yeah, I think we should be a little more positive going into the summer. I think I've seen a lot of good things, especially Sam Hartman. But it's kind of what we should have expected from a 6-year guy with records, you know?
Yeah.
I think maybe everyone kind of downplaying because he played in the ACC in that weird system, but he looked awfully comfortable on Saturday.
Yes, he did.
In the snow, in the rain.
Yep.
You know.
Yep, he looked in control, Adam. He looked like he was in control of the situation. And that is the number one thing I ask of my quarterback is to be the leader out there, be the calming influence, and have control of that operation. The quarterback is just not one of 11. The quarterback is different. That guy needs to be the damn leader and lead by example and calm everything down and just keep it moving. That's what this guy offers, and that's progress for us, and that's my takeaway.
Yep, 100%. You're right on. We haven't seen quarterback be that in control and calm and on rhythm in a long time.
Yep. But Adam, I appreciate all the help. Grill Master General there, Gordon Ramsay in the old tailgate lot. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
All right, John, we'll talk to you.
All right, I'll see you. Oh, that's what I need.
right.
Gordon Ramsay cooking up the food in the parking lot. Where's the lamb sauce? You donkey! You burnt my brat, you donkey! Hey, that's a pretty good Gordon Ramsay voice I got there. I never really tried it before. I think I'm good at that. 618. Let's make it great on a Monday. What up?
Hey, how you doing, John?
I'm doing very well.
Man, I was completely wrong about Hartman, man. He's the clear number one starter, man. He's the clear QB1.
So wait, all right. So wait, let's back this up. So you went into the game thinking what? That maybe Hartman was a little overhyped with the defenses he faced in the ACC, and maybe the mesh is a little quirky, and it built up. Were you afraid that maybe he had some inflated stats from all that, and then you didn't know how it was going to translate into a Notre Dame schedule? Was that it?
Yes, completely.
Okay, good. Good. And
Yes.
so you felt like it did change you a little bit, seeing that guy in control?
Yes, he's the clear number one. He's clear number one, man. He's clear number one. And at this point, man, looking at Buckner, I don't even know if Buckner might be even clear number two at this point.
You are not the only one who said that. I've had a lot of people go, I don't even know if he's the number two. Now, I don't know if that's overdoing it the negative way. I don't know all that. I don't know.
But I'm going to say this also, John. Hartman did have the better offensive line. You know, it seemed like every play, Buckner was under pressure, man. Seemed like every single play he was under pressure.
Yeah.
You know, and he folded under pressure, man. And that's something you can't do. I mean, even when Hartman faced pressure, man, he still was calm in the pocket, and he wasn't trying to rush and throw the ball into coverage. And I don't know, man. I think Greathouse and Thomas looked like they were the best two receivers on the field.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It just looked like a smoother operation. It just didn't look like chaos. It didn't look like it was unorganized or everybody was running around waiting for somebody to make it all work. It just looked like what I think it should look like. And that's what I'm asking for. Make it look like it should look like with a guy out there directing traffic who knows what's going on. I was encouraged by it.
And I watched the Ohio State spring game, man, and that defense from Notre Dame, man, it's scary. It's scary good, man. I don't think I would want to bring a first year quarterback into Notre Dame Stadium against that defense.
So
man.
You like Notre Dame's defense? Is it you feel like you saw some guys flying around out there and it encouraged you?
Yes, man. That defense is scary good, man. Man. I said that they might go 11-1. I mean, I want to hang on to that, but I think even they beat USC this year, man.
Man, I like that. I like where your mind's at. I would love for that to be true, man.
I don't think they lose. It's more than likely they won't lose a regular season game.
Now, let me ask you this. If I would have asked you before the blue and gold game last week, where were you thinking? 9-3, 10-2-ish? Then you saw this. Now you feel better?
11-1. I always said 11-1.
So you were already up that high. There's not that much higher to go, man, if you were starting at 11-1.
Yeah, I started at 11-1 because I thought maybe USC offense might be better than Notre Dame defense. But, man, looking at that defense Saturday, man, I understand that defense is always ahead of offense, but, man, that defense is scary good. There's so much speed on the field with that defense, man. I don't know, man. I think if it was me, there's no way that you don't. Osbury got to start at linebacker, at one of the linebacker spots. He got to start.
I don't think you're going to get it. I don't. I think they're going to mix those younger guys in, a lot of them second-year guys and true freshmen. They're going to find spots to mix them in, but I don't think any of them are going to start. I don't. I'm
going to tell you why. Out of all the young guys, and all the young guys are good, John, but Osbury just looks the best to me, man. He can cover. He come up make tackles. He just looks better of all the young guys out there. He look like he leaps and bounds better than all the linebackers.
Yeah, and there's a
He
lot.
could do more than just play the run.
Yeah, and you know what? You bring up a really good point about some of the athleticism. Freeman really, really, really emphasizes, like when he took over, speed, especially on defense, speed and length were a couple of things that they prioritized. Trying to have guys that are just way more athletic, and then also guys that are just lengthy that can get in the way, fill some gaps, fill some areas. Notre Dame's team speed is getting better year after year, and they need it to be that way, but they are improving it. Notre Dame's recruiting class last year, it was one of the toppest, however they measure them high school guys. It was in the top 10 overall speed classes. Notre Dame needs as much speed as possible, and I love it.
Man, and Buckner, man, I hate to say it, man, you know.
Yeah, what happens with him, man? What happens with him?
I don't know, man. I think you're sitting down and you have to tell him, man, look, the two younger guys I got coming in, the guy from C.J. Carr, and we got Minchie here, man. I don't know what we do with you. I don't know what we do. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Me neither. And if he's just so loyal to Notre Dame, maybe it's not an issue and he's willing to stay no matter what because he just loves Notre Dame the way we do. But if he got frustrated and was like, I just need to change his scenery, this hasn't worked out, I would totally understand and not blame him either for that.
Because you got Minchie, who, man, he wasn't on the right team, but he might be the second best quarterback on the team, you know. And you got C.J. Carr coming in. You're in the same position with two younger guys next year that you was in this position with a 6-year guy this year. And I don't see him beating out Carr. A possibility, you know, I don't see Carr beating out Minchie, you know, next year. So I'm just sorry, man. I don't know what to tell you. I can sit you down and say, hey, man, you can stay, you know, if you can stay if you want to, but hey, man, I got these two young studs, man. You got to beat these two young studs out. And if you don't like it, man, I'm sorry, man. The best thing for you is probably getting the transfer portal.
Yeah. But I appreciate his loyalty, and he's a good kid. And like people are saying, he has a sister who goes there, plays on the soccer team. They're a Notre Dame family. The guy loves Notre Dame. It's just not been smooth sailing, and I feel for him in a lot of ways. But when I looked at those two quarterbacks running the operation, it was night and day Saturday. I didn't care if it was winter, spring, summer, fall, rain, sleet, snow, ice. I know what I saw, and they looked nothing alike at all in terms of calmly running the operation. That was what I was looking for, and I saw it.
What I was looking for is okay, I was thinking the whole time, like, okay, Buckner legs is probably going to be the difference in this quarterback competition. But he holds on to the ball too long.
Yep.
And he throws into too much coverage.
Yep.
And, you know, he throwing in triple coverage, dude. I mean, I understand what you did, and we love you for what you did in the bowl game. But you're not ready for big-time college football, and you still throwing into triple coverage.
Man, you know what happens? You know what drives me nuts with him? What drives me nuts is some of his reads and progressions are too fast, and it's just out, and then it's like a skipper. And then other ones take way too long, and then the plays that he's always on one side or the other. It's either I know right where I'm going to go, I'm going to force it, or I'm taking forever, and then the play's dead. I need him to find a middle ground between them.
Right. I need him to start using his legs more, man. You know, if you see triple coverage, take off, man. Shoot off and get a first down, slide and get a first down. Instead of throwing into triple coverage and throwing all these picks, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
It's not good. I'm sorry, man.
I know. And the fact that he's such a good kid, too. For Notre Dame, that matters to me. And he's such a good kid and a hard worker and so respectful. I want it to work so damn bad. But the other guy had that baby humming up and down the field, and I want more of it. 347, you're coming up next. Hang with me.
And I you know, he could look like he got all the confidence in the world in the what's name, but I think Hartman took a lot of that confidence away from him and say, hey, this is how quarterback is supposed to be played. I don't know what you're doing, but this is how it's supposed to be played.
Yep. The man looked like he was in control of the operation and he was getting the ball out, and it should only just get better from there when you have the full line and all the compliments and you add in all the stuff they could do with the running game. Like, this offense should be way more efficient, way more electric, and way better. And if it isn't, something's gone horribly wrong. This offense is on trajectory to be way better. Don't you agree?
Yes. And I thought instead of Hartman, I thought it would have been Buckner would have made it more electrifying because he can use his legs.
Right. Yeah, with the run.
He don't use his legs enough, and he holds the ball way too long. And like you say, the ones that he reads, that he actually do make the right reads on, he's throwing them into the ground.
Yeah, it's rough. I feel for the kid, man. All those delayed years in development, sitting there with the cast on your leg, not able to work. Like, he's lost so much natural development due to injury and bad luck and timing. I feel bad for him, but as much as I feel bad for him, I love Notre Dame winning more. And so I guess I'm a jerk. Like, I feel bad for him, but the other guy looks like he's running the offense better. So I'm going to go with that guy.
And 2024, I don't see nothing different. I see either Minchie starting or Carr starting.
Hey, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. I was driving. Hey,
already been in the office for a year.
Don't do this to me. We were driving home.
I'm sorry,
John. We were driving home.
John, I'm sorry to
Dog.
do it to you. But 2024, I see either Minchie or Carr starting over Buckner.
I had this exact mental breakdown on over the weekend. I got home from the game. I started thinking, all right, I feel like I know what we're doing for this year, but then what the hell's going to happen the next year? We're going to have to revisit all of this again next year with the young guys and then with Buckner. And this is the year that he develops and all that, the guy's going to be my age pretty soon.
So I actually see Carr or Buckner. Minchie or Carr starting over Buckner. If I'm Buckner now, man, I'm starting to look around and say, hey, man, maybe this ain't for me. Maybe Notre Dame ain't for everybody. I tried. I gave it my all. It's time to get up out of here, man.
I know. I don't want it to be that way, but I also want him to do what's going to fulfill him. And if the writing's on the wall and he wants to go be a starter, then he might have to make that decision. That's a family decision, one for him. It's a very tough one. I don't know, man.
Maybe go down to Auburn, man. I've seen their quarterback play. Their quarterback is horrible.
Yeah, no. And then I was just gonna say, I really did enjoy seeing the Alabama guys kind of freaking out about their quarterback play. You want to talk about Hartman and how good all that is? Alabama's quarterbacks didn't look good. They had a bunch of man.
Maybe go to Alabama, Florida, or Auburn, man, because all their quarterback play was terrible.
I'm telling you, I don't know. I feel for the kid. Anything else, my friend? I appreciate you checking in with me.
Them receivers, man. I see Merriweather. Starting. I see Grayhouse starting, and I see Thomas starting. I don't know who'd be the other one, the fourth one, but them the three that I'm going with. Them the three I'm definitely going with.
Yeah, and you know what, Thomas isn't going to be a burner, but I'm starting to find him to be very reliable, like a valuable, reliable guy where you know where he's going to be. He's going to make the plays. It isn't like over the top, like wild Randy Moss. He's just going to be reliable, and this group needs that kind of stability with some of the other unknowns. If he could turn into that, I like that.
If I'm going with four, I'm probably going with Tyree in the slot. Grayhouse, Thomas, and Merriweather. They're my four receivers.
There you go. That's it.
Hey, Grayhouse looked like a man amongst boys.
Yeah, he did. He did not look like a guy that young running around there with the confidence he did making those plays. Like, it's a guy that's ahead of schedule, and Notre Dame needs more of him, and I love it.
And I lived in the San Antonio area. I heard about him when they won the two state titles at Westlake. He's everything that all the people down in Texas have advertised about him in that area.
Yeah, off to the races. We need it. One of them guys had to flash. It's just the numbers. Somebody's going to get an opportunity. So let's roll. Love it.
Right.
Hey.
All right, John, that was about it, man. I just say, man, Hartman, hey, man, it's a possibility we might get a national championship this year, man.
Woo! Look at you getting yourself going on a Monday, putting that in my brain. Thanks for the call, my friend. You have a good week. Give me a call back anytime.
All right.
Have a good one. Oh, man. We just love Notre Dame. Just so Notre Dame-y. 347. Welcome to the show. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, John. Terrence here from New York. And I just want to say, first time, long time, I've been listening since 2016.
Oh, wow. That goes
that
goes back to the dark ages, brother.
The dark ages, and it's been an absolute pleasure. I want to say my two favorite shows were the post-Miami, post-Michigan. Although they were horrible losses, you were incredibly entertaining. You made my week. I was very, very down, but listening to you, you're a ball of fire, man. You're a great personality. You've been an absolute pleasure.
I appreciate that. When you mentioned you had a couple favorites, though I knew those were going to be the two. And I admit, those are the only two episodes. Okay, I'll take it back. There's one other one. Those are the only two episodes after games where I literally felt like I lost my mind. Like I couldn't even concentrate. I had some notes. I couldn't concentrate. I literally lost my mind. And it was it all just had to come out the way it did. I was shaking. I was so mad. I couldn't even think straight, but it had to get out. And the other one that was bad was when a guy wrote an article saying we need to do away with calling ourselves the Fighting Irish. I absolutely blew a gasket on that one as well, saying that if we're no longer the Fighting Irish, I'm done here, and we'll shut the show down. So
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that as well.
I couldn't deal with that one. That one got me.
I was perturbed about that when they were considering that. I remember your reaction. It's been great to have you the entire time. It's like I said, it's been an absolute pleasure, especially after those down weeks, to hear your voice, to hear your rants. You say what it is, and it's just been very, very a very enjoyable experience. With that being said, going forward, I'm definitely very optimistic about Hartman and the young talent this year. After the spring game, just seeing all the speed. It appears that they got more depth. It'd be great to have some more top tier talent, but I feel that, we're getting there. And I feel right now, like college football, other than Bama and Georgia, we're enduring a transition. I don't know that Clemson or Ohio State are quite the same. USC has shown the past decade that they've been beatable. I know they got us last year, but we get them this year at home with a better quarterback. We should definitely have a much better offense. I can't see our defense nosediving. If they're anything remotely close, we should be in every game.
You know what? You have a good point. Wait, I'm going to stop you. You have a good point. Because I do think there's talent on the defense. Like it's just not knowns that I can count on, like the Adaminolas and Foskey. Like it's just not that where like I know the level I can expect. But there's a lot of talent there. I agree with you. If they fell off a rock, it would tell me if they fall off the ledge. I'm questioning Al number 1 and Al number 2 of what the hell is going on here. That's what I would do if that happened.
And Freeman was a linebacker. He was a defensive coordinator. They're not going to know that. The defense alone should keep them in every game. And if you're telling me this offense is going to be a huge upgrade, and I suspect it will be from last year, just based on the quarterback alone, forget about the upcoming wide receivers and that running back room. The offensive line is going to be there. 40 points a game. Come on, you got a lot of ACC teams on that schedule. You really get the schedule this year comes down to 3 teams, and listen. And I want to push against you a little bit. 2 years ago, Kelly had that weak schedule. He went 11-1. Freeman took over. They lost to Oklahoma State in the bowl game. I'll tell you, and I'm on the chat, so I'm actually T-Rex.
Oh, okay,
as a
good.
dinosaur.
Good to know.
I don't think that this year's schedule is much more daunting than the schedule we had 2 years ago. That's going to be unpopular. But I'll tell you, Cincinnati made the playoffs. And I think that Cincinnati team would play a good game at the very least against the three teams we have on our schedule this year, if not beat them. They had NFL talent. Again, we lost.
Wait, though. Hold on a second. Even if I agree with you, the difference is there was only one of those good teams on that schedule, and there's 3 this year. Like, that was it. That was because USC was in the dumpster.
We played USC 2 years ago, though.
Right, but they weren't good then. They were still in the dumpster. They weren't this version where they open up the Hollywood money and they're doing all that. Like, that was when they were in the dumpster, which is why Kelly was able to exist in Notre Dame so long, beating up on our rival when they were in the shitter.
Sure, that's a fair point. I agreed, absolutely. But I don't know that, again, USC, they might only be the second or third best team in their conference this year. Like, I don't know that they're this, definite. They won 2-3 games here. Utah handled them twice.
Yeah.
I don't see USC being, they're not going to beat a Georgia or Alabama.
Yeah. And then what do you feel about Clemson then? Do you feel like Clemson's trending down, or with the new offensive coordinator, they're going to tighten things up, go with the young quarterback, and then they'll be trending up? How do you feel about them?
I fear them the most of the 3. I think Dabo's the proven coach among the 3. He's been there.
Yeah.
He's not far removed from, being a championship team.
Yep.
And we get them at their place. We just beat the crap out of them last year. But keep in mind, last year when we handled them, a lot of it had to do with our special teams. Okay, it was our run game as well.
Yep.
But a lot of it was our special teams, and that's not going to be a strength for us like it was last year. Now you're talking about a 50-50 game at their place where they're angry. They do have equal talent. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going in there undefeated because we get USC and Ohio State at home. I believe Ohio State will be down. I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State lost to Michigan and Penn State this year and we're a 9-win team. They're due for it. I don't really believe in they. As far as Lincoln Riley, they don't play defensive teams. And if our offense could match theirs, really feel strong.
Here's what worries me. I used to agree with you, and then I looked at some of the recruiting with Riley and what his history, and it was like offense. I get the inclination over this winter that he knows he's got to build up that defense, and then the first thing you do is go to Georgia and take that guy in the portal and throw him right in there. That was one of USC's biggest weaknesses on the roster, and then overnight, now they got a stud to plug right in there. And it worries me.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
It worries me.
Let me answer something. Did he do that at Oklahoma? Because they were pouring in the talent there too, and they would score 50 points a game but not play defense. Like, what happened when he was at Oklahoma? How about his history there?
Yeah, I think it was just in that conference, you didn't have to worry about it as much. Everybody was in a horse race every day, up and down the field, scoring 48, 52 points a game. I just think it's a different dynamic.
I don't necessarily feel the Pac-12 is much different, though. I think it's a weaker conference where they do score a lot of points. I don't know that any of them have this high caliber defense. Obviously, the game has evolved. It's much more of an offensive game now overall throughout the entirety of college football. But the SEC, the conference that reigns supreme, they still harp on defense. That's a much more balanced conference, loaded with speed, the most speed and talent.
Yeah.
That's if we're gonna be threatened by anybody, it's gonna be a Southeastern team. I just don't see it with USC. I don't see it with Ohio State. I think they're upper second tier teams this year. I think anybody outside of Alabama or Georgia can be beaten, and I think this is the year we start to show that. And look, I don't know that we're going to go 12-0. I think we could. I think 10-2 would be a success. I think if we go 10-2, we got to win that New Year's Six. We got to get that monkey off our back.
Yep.
We got to go forward into 2024. Get into this 12-team playoff, and I think anything can happen. You just got to get there. We need to take steps forward.
Yeah. Nope. Hey, listen. If you're gonna get, you're onto this. If you were gonna nail Ohio State, Isn't this the perfect dynamic? You got them at your place instead of their place. They're coming in with the young quarterback, not you. Like, if ever there was a time to clip Ohio State, now's your perfect golden opportunity, correct?
I couldn't agree more. 4-0 going into that game.
Yep.
You get them at home, green jerseys, the weather, all the points I've heard. I don't miss a show. All the points you've made, couldn't agree more. I think we get them. I do. I really, really do. As long as we're healthy, I don't. You got a great amount of talent around Hartman. That line to protect them. My God, our running back room. Come on, like you've got like 3 or 4 guys in there. That can get the job done. I think moving Tyree to slot is going to be huge. Get that guy in space. Look, I won't get carried away with the spring game. It's not. I don't put listen. It's good for me because it's entertainment, but I don't read. I'm not going to overread into that.
Yeah.
Regarding the whole Hartman.
Did you see what you were looking for though? Like, did you go in looking for certain things? Did you kind of check some things off your list that you wanted to be able to see as a fan just to feel better till this long summer layoff?
I did. I mean, obviously that the spring game lacks these special teams, which again, I can't stop harping on because I'm just. It was our strength last year.
You know me. Hey, if you've been watching me since 16, you know I have no patience for bad special teams and all of that polling and BS and everything else. Kelly didn't prioritize it. Here's what I think. Even though we did lose Mason, I think Freeman values special teams being not a net neutral, but a positive. And I think the head guy valuing it, he's going to put the time in practice to keep it an above average unit. I just don't know if it'll quite be the game-changing plays we got last year. But it has to be a plus unit. I'm done with it just being neutral or bad. Be a plus unit. Can we do that at least?
Couldn't agree more. It's got to be a plus unit. We can't have that dramatic of a swing.
Yeah.
It's got to be at the very least a plus unit.
Yeah.
With the offense gaining traction going forward, getting much improvement. The defense has listen. That's been our strength. If it can kind of stay close to what it's been, and if we could, the special teams last year, they were great. Maybe they could just be good. And I think that with the way the schedule sets up, the way we recruited, the talent that's out. Listen, if we're going to be, not be, but be a Georgia or Alabama, Healy, Moore, Bowen, we're going to need, 2 or 3 of those every year to take that next step and be a dynasty. But as far as this year, I feel like anybody could be beaten. I did tune into that Alabama spring game a little bit.
What'd you make of it? How did our old boy Tommy look? What did he look like?
David's getting older.
Yeah.
Why can't they be beaten? The talent. Listen, we can't compete with their talent, but energy, believing in yourself, the whole Rudy mentality. Listen, they LSU beat them last year. If they can do it, why can't we?
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. You're looking at this a little differently than most people do. And I think maybe I could be guilty of this as well for looking at the schedule and seeing those brand names. Ohio State, USC, Clemson, but
right now we're seeing things a certain way. But when the season plays out, it might be a Pitt or an NC State that are much better than we think they are. And then Ohio State, could be. Listen, this is far-fetched, but nothing is ever as it seems, right?
There's surprises every year. There's surprises every year where some teams you think are going to be good don't, or they have a bunch of injuries, and other teams rise up. Anything could happen. But like you said, we're talking about Ohio State and all that. We also need to make sure Notre Dame doesn't slip up before that game. That could ruin the entire mojo of this entire thing and the buildup of Ohio State. Notre Dame's got to go in there undefeated. It's a 100% requirement.
I couldn't agree more. It's a 100% requirement. I think the only thing holding them back last year, and I don't know if you'll recall this, I think it was the post-BYU game when, Notre Dame, they lost to Marshall, and then they had beaten North Carolina, and they handled them pretty good. and they had beat up on BYU pretty good. Back-to-back games. Those were two teams last year that we saw being possibly problematic, especially after that Marshall game. And we were able to handle those teams. And I remember they had interviewed Mayer after the BYU game, and he brought up that, like, behind the scenes, like the locker room was a little, they weren't unison. And for those two games, they in fact were. I think that was a remnant of Kelly. And I think this year you won't really have that because it's been, it's 2 years removed now. These are all Freeman guys, right? They're all in now. There should be no, who's the leader. Reese is gone. This is Freeman's team. They're going to follow Freeman. So those weak losses that we had last year, like we really shouldn't have those this year.
Yeah,
it's three teams, and we have the talent of all three of those teams. Two of those games are at home. I can't see why we can't handle at least 2 or 3 of those games.
Yeah, it's a big year, man. It's a big year because you're in this year 2 pivot. I can tell you're a longtime Notre Dame guy, so you know the history of Notre Dame coaches in year 3. A lot of them that end up accomplishing great things. Year 3 is the year. Year 1's kind of rough. 2 is the calibration. And 3, you start to see some of those results. So you have the historical significance of Notre Dame coaches in year 3. And then you also have the ushering into the new expanded playoff era. So, I mean, this is all like a new world to us. And this year's a big year, man. You got to get everything lined up right for this new playoff era. So you are trending hot right into that.
I couldn't agree more. Listen, the depth is there in regards to the talent. We got a young, ambitious coach that's come from a winning program in Ohio State. He's got the connections with Tressel, who was very successful at Ohio State.
Hey, can I ask you a tough question?
Not far removed from the game physically. He looks like he could still play. If I'm an 18-year-old, I'm looking at him. I believe in what I see. I believe in that product.
Let me ask you a very tough question. The way this recruiting's going, even with Notre Dame's well-intentioned efforts, the pay for play is in play where it's not natural NIL. We'll give you money just to go here and whatever. How do you see Notre Dame competing and recruiting in that environment where we don't play those games? That's what you're up against. How can Freeman tighten that up so we're not hostages and people are just throwing empty checks at our guys and we lose them every year? How would you address that as far as Notre Dame's recruiting to prevent that? I don't think we talked before, so I always try and ask people I think are newer what the question is. I'd love to know. How do we stop that?
I think that's a very, very difficult. That's going to be difficult to conquer. But you know what? And this is my first time calling you, long time listener, obviously. I think that he has to do what he's been doing. He has to be a dog. He has to be who he is. And I know that sounds kind of vague, but like those teams have always been taking those shortcuts. They don't have the rigorous academic standards that Notre Dame does. Notre Dame traditionally and always recruits a certain type of player. They have to be unique. They have to be special. They have to be able to hit it in school and hit it on the field. And so already there, the list of guys that they can recruit is much smaller.
Yep.
So I don't really think much has to change. I just think they have to continue to do what they've been doing. I know I'm not really giving you much of an answer.
Well, that's because there's not an easy answer. It's not a trick question. There's just not a very good answer to us sitting there the night before signing day saying to a guy, 4 for 40, don't you want to go to school? Like your parents want you to get good grades. That compared to empty, just briefcase,
product that is
tough.
Notre Dame. That's the advantage Notre Dame has. It's the unique product that is Notre Dame. It's the dual categories where Notre Dame excels. They're not quite elite like Alabama currently or Georgia currently on the football field, but they are upper second tier. And academics, they're tier 1. And, you put those together, the 4 for 40, yeah, listen, that's what they are. You want a certain type of player. You don't necessarily want a guy that's going to go for the money or go for the shortcut. Nowadays, recruiting that type of guy, although he might be a 5-star, doesn't mean he's going to have the mental strength to come to an Alabama and compete with the other, 10, 12, 5-stars that have been there the last year or 2 years. You know what's going to happen? They're going to leave and do what the kid from Georgia did and go to a school like USC. When you get a kid that comes to Notre Dame, chances are they're all in. Competition is not going to phase them out. They know what they want. It's just believing in the product, being a dog, on the recruiting trail.
Yeah.
And just just believing in yourself, and that's ultimately that's the Notre Dame way, and it makes it a unique, special place, and it makes it fantastic to root for them because you know what? When they finally crack it, when they finally do, it's going to feel really good.
Yeah, it is. You know what, man? I'm glad we wrapped it up on that. That is my ultimate dream scenario on this show, is that sometime while I'm still alive, we actually do something great and I am able to have a show where we're actually all happy and nobody can complain about anything and we're all in a good mood. Like, that's what gets me going, my man. One of these years, I hope to get it before I stroke out on the air, and then I'm gone.
Listen, we just got to keep banging at that door. It's coming. It's coming. Kelly was close, but I think this guy Freeman, I think he's got a little more energy. I think he's a little more relatable. He definitely looks the part. It's coming. We just have to, we got to be there. We got to watch and, continue to root for our guys, and it's coming. Definitely.
There you go,
always
man.
Believe.
Hey,
always believe that's the Notre Dame way.
That's our way. Hey, listen, I really appreciate you calling. I believe this is your first time. Program the number. Call me again. I really appreciate it, man. You have a good week, and thank you for the support all the way back from the beginning. We needed it back then. I needed an outlet.
Likewise, John. The feeling's more than mutual. I hope you're on Wednesday.
Thanks a lot, my friend. Have a good week. Call again. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
I'm telling you, man, you guys are wild today. I don't know what the hell happened. Did I miss something? Is it like a holiday today or something? I don't know why this chat's like a little amped up today. And I'm listen, if I'm the guy saying that it's amped up, it's got to be amped up because you know how I am as far as being amped up. I don't know what you guys are on today, but you're on something. We went all over the board here. There is a lot going on. Oh, geez, Pat. Yeah, that's part of it. Leave Rudy alone. Please. Leave that poor girl alone. All right, everybody. That's going to be it. This was pretty interesting. A lively show. We're going to get into this more. We'll do something Wednesday, but it'll maybe have a different angle to some of this. And then I also just want to know, we could carry this over. There's some people that message me. I'm not going to be able to call, but I'd like to. We'll get into that Wednesday. And again, I really appreciate the support here. We got a loyal group. I am not for everybody. Anybody who might say, John, you're an idiot, you're over the top, you're obnoxious, whatever. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you if you said that. I know, trust me, but I'm stuck with me. You're not. The people who do like my show, my vibe, they're loyal. That's what I like. Like, a lot of people are turned off by my delivery, but the ones who get it and the ones who it hits, they're loyal and they're in this. And I learned a lot of that at that tailgate, how much this all means to people. And to have somebody just talking like a regular guy, saying how the regular fans feel and giving that a voice, if that's my lane, forget being sane. All right, folks, that's going to be it. I'll put a short out tonight, a video up tomorrow. We'll go live again Wednesday, and then check USA Today, Irish Wire. I'll get off here and go write some articles, and then you can read about that too. Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for the donations. I love our group. Let's build it up. And then the next time we have a tailgate party, we'll have more people and more people. We'll just keep building this thing. Thanks, everybody. There's no show without you. Love it. Thanks.